This job is a lot less fun than most people expect. Professional photographer. Not like hobbyist, but business-owning photographer. Sucks the love right out of your work because you started the business to take pictures. Then Karen doesn't like the way she looks in one of them, so she wants the whole set for free, plus a reshoot for free, plus those images for free. Then the two high school kids getting into a very ill-advised marriage at exactly 18 years old wants to book you for their wedding, but their budget is only $50. Then Karen calls back because she loves your work and wants to pay for another shoot, but only if you agree to do her friend's daughter's destination wedding for free. Then you get a call from your last bride. It's been 2 weeks since their wedding. Where the f are her pictures? Then you get no leads from a bridal expo. Then a client finds out you don't support their candidate and tries to take you to court to get her money back. Then some insta-thought who thinks she's influencing people offers a collab where you take pro photos of her and she adds Insta filters to it and claims her friend took them, and she's not gonna pay. And then you get some entitled mom who wants you to photograph every day of her newborn's first year of life for $100. I went back to being a hobbyist. I do closed captioning. While I joke that yes, I get paid to watch TV, it's actually very tedious. And if you don't actually enjoy the programming, you're being forced to watch something you don't care for. Or worse, if it's something I do enjoy, like a long-form drama, we usually chop those up into 15-minute increments and split between everyone, so I only see chunks and not always even in order. It actually ruins the show for me. Well, I'm a scientist. I don't know if people usually think of that career as fun, but I think people think it's a lot more eureka and a lot less, this data has to be manually processed for 600 hours before I can analyze it. I always say the more fun it is to go somewhere, the worse it is to work there, like amusement parks and arcades. Honestly, every job that lots of people really want to do sucks, mostly due to supply and demand. You're gonna be treated like shit, and if you complain, you're gonna be fired because you're inherently replaceable, because there's thousands of people that would love to do your job for even less money than you are making. Paleontologist. You don't get to work with full dinosaur skeletons and do all kinds of awesome expeditions. You're mostly sitting at a desk, looking at some pictures and logging stuff on your computer, maybe examining a fossil occasionally. If you're lucky, you can go on a real dig, and OMG spend hours in the hot sun dusting off rocks. A pediatric nurse, being a nurse for children and adolescents. Everyone in nursing school talks about how much they want to work with kids. The reality is that a pediatric nurse sees more cases of abuse and neglect than any other specialty. Doesn't matter where you are in a pediatric hospital, it's the thing you see most. I've seen so many DSC, Department of Child Services, caseworkers that I've gotten to know some of them and become acquaintances with them. Sure, working with children and adolescents is great, but people don't think about the most essential piece of that puzzle, which is their families. It doesn't matter how good of care you give to those kids. If you don't loop the parents into that care, you may as well just not be doing anything for them. Acting. All the ones we see on TV and movies are in the 0.0001% of incredibly lucky and talented people who manage to thrive in a hostile and overcrowded industry. And even when you are working, the actual job itself is 99% sitting on apple crate in hot makeup waiting for some grips to move a lighting fixture. Then you say 3 lines over and over again for an hour, and then you wrap. Being a chef, all the flair and awesomeness they show on Vice and Netflix is far from what actually happens in the industry. It's not all fancy plates and tattooed, cool-haired guys doing their thing. It's a drug-infested, law-breaking work environment that only benefits the owners of a restaurant. Zookeeper. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome to be around so many amazing animals and care for them, but the smells are ridiculously, insanely foul. I have a really strong stomach and it's still tough for me. We've had some interns quit over it. I was warned about the smells when getting into the field, but thought, oh, I volunteered at animal shelters. I know what animal stink smells like. Nope, not even close. Video game tester. You aren't spending your time playing completed, fully realized games. You play the same level of a game over and over, seeing if there are bugs. Also, you're probably not going to test the next GTA, but something like Barbie's Super Happy Fun Land 3, or some other game aimed for kids 8 and under. Zookeeper, and you'll have to play it for 8 to 10 hours a day every day. Game Master at an escape room. It's the same repetitive script, resetting the same stuff, giving clues and hints about the same things. The patrons are often competitive families who argue, obnoxious, impatient 13-year-olds, college students who have been drinking, idiots who break shit and touch shit that I specifically told them not to. They never remember your initial instructions. If something gets broken during one group, you have to hurry and fix it before the next group. Theme park security guard, ride assistant. Yes, they're the same job. People constantly come at you with the stupidest questions and entitled attitude, all the while your bosses force you to work extra hours every day because they don't have the nerve to tell people to go once it's closing time. Veterinarian. Truly shocked that nobody has said this one yet. We have the highest suicide rate of any profession. It's a lot more talking to people about money and a lot less doing medicine and saving animals than people hope going into it. Not all of the animals are grateful. Some of them want to bite you because you're hurting them and they don't know what's in their best interest. Clients can be hugely manipulative jerks. There's a lot of student debt. And don't get me started on near constant exposure to low levels of anesthetic gases. Working in a cinema. People seem to think it's great fun and we get to sit and watch films and eat popcorn. In reality, it's a quarter doing film programming, emails, cashing up, a quarter dealing with technical problems when one of the 1,000 pieces of tech you use breaks, a quarter is dealing with complaints about other customers or said tech issues, and the other quarter is spent trying to avoid all of the above. Being a writer. I always thought it was my absolute dream job, but the only job I could get after college was working in a consent mill as a blog writer. I used to work 70-hour weeks staring at the computer in a basement of an old bank writing bullshit articles about the dangers of mold, fence cleaning, and why you need a commercial awning, and the dream turned into a nightmare. While I still write occasionally, I am now working as a communications person, so it is a bit less heavy. Bar bouncer. Hours of tension and boredom interrupted by moments of adrenaline-fueled fear for your life. Then some asshole pukes cheap booze on your shoes. I was 19 when I started, and I thought I would be getting paid to meet lots of girls and listen to live music, which I did. I also had knives pulled on me, endured threats on my life, got my nose broken, not even in a fight, and stood around and did nothing most of the time. You don't get to relax though because you're constantly looking for trouble. Awful job. Working in an animal shelter. For sure, it's probably less intense than zookeeping, but the amount of people who apply or volunteer expecting to come in and play with cute puppies all day is absurd. We're basically animal maids. You deal with animals of all sorts of behavioral and developmental stages, and pissing everywhere, and then you look over and this dog named Chumbawamba swimming in his water bowl, so you gotta fill that up 6 times and dry his kennel out, and then you go and mop up the cat room around 10 kittens who want to eat your mop, and also 4 children who are yelling that there's puke on the floor and I must clean it now. Not to mention all the extra behind-the-scenes work that the public never sees. How in the summer, during kitten and puppy season, the shelter built the house 500 max has 750. And I didn't take a lunch or sit at all for any of my shifts for the past 6 days. How the courts force us to put down animals that we know can be rehabilitated, but we don't get enough funding to fight it. How animal control just showed up with the 4th pregnant stray of the week, but intake is full and even double stacked in some cases, so your coworker fosters the cats on her own. Not to mention the people who do dumb shit and end up being bit or scratched, and the animal is the one who bears those consequences. I am the proudest shelter worker in the world. I adore my job, even at its hardest. I didn't sit for 9.5 hours today, and I found a cat turd in the cuff of my jeans. But it doesn't matter because a bonded pair of adult cats got adopted today. I took 6 applications this morning, and the cat in the bank 4 with goopy eye is already looking better, and we sent a mama out to foster. The hard work is always worth it for these babies. Librarian. It's not all books and being quiet. There are also spreadsheets. I'm a librarian too. I wouldn't say it's not fun, but it's definitely not what people think it is. If we sat around reading books all day, no books would be checked in or checked out, no books would be shelved, no information would be answered, no computer help, no programming would take place, etc. I love my job and am inspired by it, but it's a lot more work than people think. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.